Hello, everyone. This is Moriah Radio and Moriah Television coming to you again. This is a week that the Lord has blessed. And I just want you to just get that cup of tea, get coffee, whatever it is, a glass of water, get your friends, get people, your family members, and sit with us because we have a very special topic today. My name is Juliet Hammond, your host, and I've got a wonderful guest. My goodness, I am so excited to have her on my show. I'm not even joking. This is absolutely wonderful. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I'm so happy to have her in my show, and this is a lady. Uh, Her name is Marva Williams, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about her. This lady is the founder of Menopause and Wellness. She is a menopause coach and counselor. She formulates nature products to support women going through menopause. She is on a mission to change the perception of menopause, especially within the Afro Caribbean community. So please just get your seat, come together, let's talk. She feels it is very important to break the taboo and get women talking about their symptoms so they can find the right treatment and support through this period as to many people, because many people they suffer in silence. And I've got her on my show. Her name is Marva Williams. Marva, you are welcome to my
Thank you, thank
show.
you, thank you,
You
thank
are
you.
welcome. So, how are you doing? Tell us a little bit about you. What is going on right now in your life?
Okay, well, my name's Martha Williams. I'm a menopause coach and counsellor, as you said. I'm one of the founders of Shush Menopause Wellness. And for us, it's all about breaking the taboo on menopause and getting women talking about this subject. 50% of the world's population are women. And at some point, we will all, by the grace of God, get to that wonderful age, which I say is a blessing.
Yes,
But when we get there, we need to know what we're doing. And what we also need to do is impart our knowledge, our wisdom on the people that are coming behind us. So it's very
absolutely.
important.
It is very, the way you speak with passion. And this is the way I am when it comes to menopause, because menopause is my background. If you don't know it, people that know me knows that menopause is my background. And I am very, very interested in topic because it's something that affects almost more than 70% of women. They do go through the transition and they do have
Exactly.
one problem or the other. Well, we don't call it problem, we call it symptoms.
Symptoms,
Okay, the phase,
transition.
the transition, this phase.
Yes.
Okay, so today, tell us, when did you develop interest in menopause? I think everyone
My
would know.
interest started in menopause in 2019. The reason it started in 2019 is I became very ill. At the time, I didn't know it was menopause symptoms I had. When I first was saying I wasn't feeling right, I couldn't put my pinpoint it. I don't think the doctors, nobody was taking me seriously. And it got to the stage, and I'm going to really condense his story, that I ended up
Yeah,
collapsing, nearly
good.
dying.
Hmm.
And that's when they started looking to find out what was actually wrong. And there were issues because my hemoglobin was very low, my magnesium was practically non-existent, and my iron was extremely low, which was what caused me to collapse. When I came out of hospital the first time, even though I was doing everything the doctor told me, 2 months later, I woke up one morning and I couldn't move. But the whole from my waist down could not move at all. And it turned out when they got me to hospital, my magnesium was even lower, my hemoglobin had gone down even more, and my iron had gone down even more, which nobody could understand because I'm saying doing everything the doctors had told me. The
Hmm.
key to this, which is why I'm a big believer in magnesium,
Hmm.
transdermal products, which means
Yeah,
what goes on your skin goes into your stream and goes into your bloodstream, is if you have any form of gut health, you're never going to absorb the full nutrients from a supplement. So I'm a big believer in transdermal. I'm a big
Mhm.
believer in gummies because
Mhm.
basically gummies, your saliva is breaking it down, which means it's going straight into the bloodstream.
We we're gonna come to all of that. Okay,
Yes.
because I think you're talking about your products right
No,
now.
no,
You're
I'm not
talking
going to talk about the
about
product. I was actually coming on to what my issue
okay,
was.
right.
So the reason I couldn't walk was because I had no more magnesium in my body.
Mm,
Um, so literally everything seized up. So that's when I started doing research. Well, what is going on with my body and how can I sort it out? And that's actually what led to my interest because, you know, going to bed one night and being able
yeah,
quite fine, walking up the steps and waking up the next morning. I remember I was willing myself to move. I couldn't move. I actually thought that morning I was going to be paralyzed and I would never be able to walk again. So for me,
mm,
you know, I always say to women, you don't know how serious it can get until it happens
mm,
to you. And when it happens to you, you either can stay down or you get up
mm.
and fight and work through the symptoms and come out the other side. And to God be the glory, now I am able to walk. So,
My
you know, I am,
goodness.
as far as I'm concerned, a very living testimony.
I am so happy and so pleased about that. That you lived to come and tell the story. Now, what is menopause? Why do we have to
Well,
go
what
through menopause?
Well, basically, after our childbearing ages and we don't need our reproductive system anymore, we
Mm,
start to lose the estrogen and progesterone, and some women, the little bit of testosterone that we have out of our body. Now, as that is decreasing, it's not like what I call a walk in the park. So you're not going down in a nice, gentle slide. It's actually literally fighting. So some days you can be up, some days you can be down. So some days you'll have more estrogen, some days you'll have
mm,
less estrogen, some
yeah,
days you'll have more progesterone, some days you'll have less progesterone. The main issue is while this is going on, we have got a hormonal imbalance in our body at that
yeah,
stage. And
yeah,
I call it that's where the fight starts. So, what happens? Everybody, it's unique to them. We all have different symptoms or different sets of symptoms. Sometimes our symptoms actually change as we go through this course. So you may start with a hot flush, but then the next thing it's a burning tongue, and then you may go
mm.
back to a hot flush. Everybody is unique.
Everyone is
So
different.
that's correct. Now, once you've not seen your menstrual cycle for 365 days clear, then
Mm,
you've got 1 day of menopause. Now, this is where the confusion starts.
mm,
If, say, you go 11 months and 25 days, and then you see your menstrual cycle, unfortunately for us women, we have to restart the clock and start again. And this can happen sometimes for up to 12 years. So some women, they could be going through this journey for 12 years before they finally get what you call that 1 day of what I call peace, which is menopause. Thereafter, you're postmenopausal. And you are postmenopausal, unfortunately, for the rest of your life.
do you think it's unfortunately?
Well, why I say
Women?
unfortunately is I speak to so many women, and I speak to women in their 70s, and they're saying, I still get the odd hot flush. I
Right.
still don't sleep. I
Mm,
still, and that's why I say unfortunately, because this issue, when we've lost our estrogen and progesterone, is not going away. We have to find ways of adapting and living through the different symptoms that we may have for the rest of our life. Sometimes not as severe as when we're in perimenopause, but still it happens.
it happens. I get you. When we talk about wellness, I know you're into all of this. When we talk about our wellness, what do we actually mean? Can you explain it to us in a way that we will all understand it?
Okay, wellness for me, and this is what I always say to women, as women, a lot of us have got families, aging parents, children, husbands, boyfriends. And what we find is, as women, it's like we're super women. And the reason I'm going to
Mm.
use this term superwomen, we are on the goes. We're working, some of us are running businesses, but what we're doing, we're on the go, on the go, on the go.
All the
So
time.
we prioritize ourselves where we prioritize everybody up there, we prioritize ourselves down there. So
Mhm.
we do not tend to look after ourselves in the same way, and especially us of Caribbean and African descent, because we
Mm.
are very family orientated. We're doing for
Yeah.
everybody else and we leave ourselves undone. It is
It's
important, and I always say this to them, take that time out, whether it's doing your nails, whether it's doing your hair, whether
true.
it's going for a spa day, take that time out. Even if you can't afford any of those things, it takes nothing to go and run a bath, dim the lights, put some lovely bubble bath oil in there and relax. Take that time for yourself. It is so important. It
I
doesn't
do
have
that.
to cost a lot.
I do that every now and then. I just run my bath. I just use some kind of nice oils. I love
That's
all the
right.
nice smelling things.
That's
I it just makes me feel good.
right. Exactly.
It just makes you feel relaxed. Not stressed out. So wellness is something to do with our not just our emotions, our body, our psychological being, spiritual being as well.
That's right.
This is what makes us give us what we call a wellness. We must
That's
be sound emotionally and physically, psychologically, and it helps with our mental health. I mean, I'm sure
that's
you will
right.
agree with me. It helps. Its core is it has to do with our mental health as well. So how do we improve our wellness? Through managing our menopause. I'm talking about our menopause now because I know that a lot of women are going through it. So how do we improve our wellness so that we can go through this transition properly, without really
Well,
damaging our senses?
there's so many different ways we can all improve our health. I mean,
Mm,
sometimes I say to women, it could be just a case, if you're busy, you go to your room, your bedroom, you relax, deep breathing. There's breathing techniques we can do which relax the mind, relax the body. That's just one simple thing we can do. Self
mm,
care is another thing, whether it's a lovely bath, whether it's setting
self-care.
the mood in our room. I call it sleep hygiene. And when I talk about sleep hygiene, we're not talking about washing, it's the steps when we're going to bed, like turn off that mobile phone or leave it downstairs. It's
Mm,
not being with a computer or an iPad for the blue light to keep you awake. It's
mm,
setting the mood of the actual room that you're preparing for sleep. That's just something very basic we can do. Another simple thing is just go for a walk. Again, that's another
simple,
thing
nice
we can do.
breeze.
There's so many
Okay.
small techniques that we can use that would
Mm,
just improve us, our mental mind, our mental and general well-being. But the most
mm,
important thing is we must take time out for ourselves. That is
important.
so important. I always talk about journaling. Sometimes, if you've had a hard day, even if you just get a book and just write down every evening just to take that out of your mind. It's like, I call it decompressing. It doesn't have to be an essay. It might be just a few bullet points that have happened on the day, but you're just getting rid of it. I think journaling is very important as well. It's just finding what works for you, because the
Mm,
most important thing, it has to work for you, and it's got to be something you can keep up with.
that's it. It must be something that is easy for you to
Exactly.
to do. And
That's
yeah, because you did mention something that is quite important there. Every woman's experience is different.
yes.
Everybody's experience is different. So when it comes to symptoms, is it true then to say that the symptoms are the same, or can it be different for everybody?
Every woman can have varying symptoms. We may not, there's over 40 symptoms in menopause. We don't always have all 40 symptoms, but it's recognizing however slight those symptoms are. Like when I start tracking back in
Yeah.
my mid 30s, I used to get a lot of itchy scalp, even though I just washed my hair. Itchy scalp. It was like I wanted to rip my scalp and dig it apart. Now, when I've been studying it, that is a sign of perimenopause. Now, I didn't collate the two. So sometimes the symptoms can be so small, so slight. Another
Mm-hmm.
thing is some women, if their skin gets drier,
Yeah.
that is a sign of perimenopause. Again, sometimes not taken very seriously. Another thing I remember in my late 30s, my ear, I always ended up with a ringing in my ear and an itching of my ear. Now doing the research, again, another sign of perimenopause. Not all the time, it used to come and go. Sometimes the symptoms are so slight, it's being aware of our bodies. And that's why I say to women, it's good to talk, because you might think, oh, it's a ringing of the ear. Oh, something
Mm-hmm.
must be wrong. I've got an infection. No, it may
Mm-hmm.
not be an infection. It could be a sign your estrogen and your progesterone is starting to drop. And as a lot of Caribbean and African women, I was reading a Swan report, which was done in America, and our menopause actually lasts longer and sometimes is a lot harder than our counterparts. Now,
Mm-hmm.
some of that, in some research, people say it could be the foods we eat, it could be we like a lot of pepper. It doesn't matter what it is, but we need to prepare for that. Also, another thing, a lot of reports are starting to suggest is if you start your menstrual cycle early, like 9, 10, sometimes you go into an earlier menopause and sometimes it's a longer menopause. So there's so many different factors that you have to take on. And that's why I feel it's so important to talk. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
doing a talk the other day, and I was saying, burning tongue is a perimenopause symptom, and people are like, I didn't know that. So there's so many different things.
Things that we
It's
don't
being
know.
aware.
Yeah. Yeah. But we have natural menopause and we have non-natural ones, you know. Can you try and explain briefly what the two,
Okay,
yeah,
some
the
women
difference
go
between
into
the two?
menopause because they
Mhm.
call it surgical menopause. Now, what that
Mhm.
probably means is, and what I mean probably, if say someone has a hysterectomy, they go straight into menopause. If they've had certain cancer treatments like radiotherapy, chemo, that can send them into menopause as well. Now, a lot of women think that, okay, menopause is for older women, but I speak to women because they've had surgery in their late 20s or they've
Mhm.
had breast cancer and it sent them into menopause because of the treatment.
Mhm.
Menopause is not just for older women. There are younger women that go through menopause, but unfortunately, they don't get taken seriously and they are not prepared for it because no one sits down and says, look, you're going to have this treatment and this could send you into a surgical menopause, which means, and those surgical menopause with some women, it hits them even harder because it hits them all at once.
It's so sad. And the thing is that people are not actually taking it quite seriously because I'll give you an example. I went to a women's program, you know, where, you know, it was a women gathering. So I just kind of raised the topic, you know, I told them I've got some stuff that we can use
Mhm.
to help with menopause and things. And so women started walking away because as soon as I mentioned menopause, they felt it has nothing to do with them because they're still young and everything. They're not even thinking about it. But what are the dangers of that? What is the implications of that? Because you know, a lot of young people are going through menopause. You know,
Well,
they're not even rich. Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, all I was going to say, it's very dangerous
Yeah.
because if you don't recognize, a lot of women that don't understand, they think they're going mad. They think it can destroy relationships, it can, marriages break down. And it's because they don't have the understanding of what they're actually going through. And unfortunately, as there's something I call the male menopause. And when I talk about the male menopause, and I talk to men, I said, look, you're in it together because
Yeah.
you've got to understand what she's going through. If she's snapping, she's not stepping directly at you, she's not having to go directly at you. It's her
Mm,
hormones, they're imbalanced. So you've got to sometimes just walk away, leave her to it, come
Mhm.
back when she's calmed down and discuss. So I think it's really
About
important.
it.
And I do say it's a family affair, you know,
Yes.
and that's why I say children have to understand because, you know, mum may be angry. No, she's not angry at you. It's just she's
Mm,
snapping because of her hormones. And that's why I
mm,
think it's really important that this
yeah.
is discussed. Just I tell people, I would like to see menopause discussed just as you would discuss pregnancy. And what I mean by that, the same way you'd say, oh, you're 8 months pregnant and the baby's nearly due. I don't know why we can't be saying, I'm having a hard day today, you know,
Yeah.
my hormones are playing up. It's to me,
Mm.
it's one in the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be natural.
Yeah,
It should really be something that we talk about, among friends, things that we talk about in families like mother, daughter, that kind of a
exactly.
thing. It shouldn't be a taboo. It
No.
shouldn't be something that's, that is not talked about. I want us to kind of think about some practical steps, some ways that we should be managing menopause. How do we manage it? Even though some people don't believe in it, some people feel, oh, it's because some people get confused as well because they feel it's stress, it's something get over. How do we manage it? What are the practical steps we should be taking to manage
I think
menopause?
one of the things, and that's why I think journaling for all ages is so important. It's understanding. I always say to women, you need to understand your body. You know, this process we go through is unique to each
Mm.
one of us. Not all of us going to have the same symptoms or the same combination of symptoms. So we
Yeah,
must understand our bodies.
yeah,
The other thing is, I always say to people, you know, a lot of people say they don't like going to their doctors, they're not taken seriously. But there's so many menopause counselors around now, consultants around, you know, sit down and work through the steps, work through and talk out the issues, especially if you're not sure. Like I was saying earlier, I wasn't feeling 100%, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And that's why I say it's really important we talk, because by
mm,
speaking to people, we can then they can help or they can address it or say, like somebody was saying something to the other day, and I said, you know, sweet, you could be perimenopausal. It's somebody in their mid-30s. And I said, because everything you're telling me sounds like you could be perimenopausal. And that's why I
yeah,
think education,
yeah.
knowledge and information is key, especially for the next generation coming through, because we don't want to go through what we went through. I would like to think that we are the
Yeah.
last generation that are going to
Yeah.
go through the not talking about it stage. We
It
have to
would
be
be easier
open.
for them.
It
Yeah.
should be easier for those
Mhm.
coming through behind
Mm.
us.
Mm. I mean, oh my goodness, you're talking about counselor and coach, menopausal coach. We didn't have this long time ago, so it's all new. So it's going to take a while for people to get used to it. But important thing is that people are aware that these services are out there,
Exactly, yes.
menopausal counselors and menopausal coaches
Exactly.
that
Mhm.
can really talk to you about it, sit you down. And also, if they can't go through to these people, they can speak to their GP about it. They can speak to their practice nurses about it
That's true.
or any health professional. We have the 111 service as well, where people can just call and get some information of where to get help from. So people shouldn't really be, they shouldn't be suffering in silence,
No.
for what you are saying. Okay, so you have developed this product very cleverly, a very clever woman you are, very industrious and business minded. I want you to let us know, how does this product work? What is it that you produce to help
I
women?
Okay, I've developed a range of formulas that are, I call it the power of the plant. Now, what I mean by the power of the plant, I go back because the plants have terpenes in them, and those terpenes work with our nervous system. So, whether it's sleep, whether it's to lift our emotions, whether it's anxiety, you know, I really, the, the crux of the formulations I do are with essential oils, and it's the blending of those essential oils that get the products to work in the manner that they do. I also use a lot of magnesium in my products because there's so many things that magnesium helps with, whether it's sleep, whether it's bone, whether it's joint health. There's so many things, and we are not aware of. So I try and develop products, and I say they have to perform. And the reason I say they have to perform, anybody can put a product on the market, but I want products that are going to give genuine benefit to the customer. So, if, say, for example, a person isn't sleeping, let's tackle that issue and let's get you sleeping. I mean, I have women telling me now they're dreaming again. They never used to dream. It wasn't they never used to dream, they were
Mm.
not sleeping
Yeah.
deeply and soundly enough, so now they're dreaming. That's fantastic. I've got women that saying to me, some of them have been waiting on hip operation and knee surgery, and now they're getting ease by using some of the products, especially like our Relieving Ease, which is packed with magnesium and hemp oil using the endocrine system. So for me, it's getting to the core of what the issue is and trying to knock it naturally. Because, if we go back to our ancestors,
Yes.
what did they use? It was plants to do things, it was the
Was plant
herbs to do
products.
things.
Yeah.
That's what I want us to really think, that yeah, chemicals are good, HRT is great, but not everybody can take HRT, because
Yeah.
if you've had some in your family, like strokes, a history of stroke, if you've had certain cancers, if blood clots, they do advise you that you shouldn't take HRT. Well, then for those women, what do they do? So by
Yeah.
using natural forms, and as I say, going back to the power of the plant, they can get some ease and relief from their symptoms.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. They don't have to have HRT. There are some people that they have this principle: no matter what symptoms I have, I'm not going to have HRT.
Yes.
At least they have those alternatives there.
Mhm.
We call it complementary therapy.
Complementary therapies.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. That they can use this product that you cleverly manufacture. I am so proud of you,
Oh, thank
thinking
you.
about it honestly. And these products, they do actually work, honestly. Mother, what I did have some of your products, and I do use them even up to now. And I can see how effective. I sleep well, I relax more, I do more, I don't even feel it, because of that magnesium or whatever it is that goes directly into your skin, to your bloodstream. I don't
Yes.
feel all that tired and very sleepy, that I usually, do have. So I just want to commend you for what you have
Thank
done.
you.
You need to tell us, how do we actually assess the product? Where do we go for? Where do we buy it from? Basically, I'm going to put the website and everything
Okay.
on the
Well, I've done a special link for the Mount Moriah listeners, that I know you're going to share with everybody. All they have to do is click on that link, and it would automatically give them 30% off the product. I want women to be able to try the products and see what works for them. Also, me and my team are available, that if you've got any questions, you can message us and we will answer them. So if you're not sure about a product, or if there's a symptom you think, oh, I'm not sure, if you message us, we will lead you in the right direction.
Mm. And also, just to add to that as well, we have the Mount Moriah Foundation website, where we are always updating women with information on menopause, what to do, where to go about, and where to get support from. And also, we do organize every now and then training or women conferences where we speak about these things so openly. We don't hide anything. We speak
No,
about it. We talk. So please join us. Visit the website, Mount Moriah Foundation website. Just go there and search, and also be updated on the available and upcoming conferences and seminars that we are organizing for women, especially. Mother, I am so so happy you came today. Now, you did mention HRT. And
yes.
one of the things that's been talked about on the news recently, especially last week, is about menopause. Is about HRT rather. Can you tell us, what is the update right now? What is going on? What are they even talking about that is happening at the moment?
Well, at the moment, since for the last few years, they have an HRT shortage in the UK, and they're saying that in March 2023 we should have new stocks of HRT. Now, the problem is with this shortage, in my personal humble opinion, is women are starting on one thing, then they are running out, and then they're having to transfer them to something else. Now, even
Mm,
when you go on HRT, it's important that you have regular checkups, especially in the early stages, to get the dosage right. So, what you don't really want to be doing is having a pump one time, a patch another time, a gel
mm,
another time. You do want some kind of consistency with the HRT. The only good news to come out of this is from April 2023,
mhm.
women will be able to pay, I think it's £18 a year, and they
Yeah,
will be able to get all their HRT for the price of technically two prescriptions for the year. Now, that
wow.
I think is a major breakthrough, because some
Mm,
women were spending, that in a month,
I
basically,
know.
because they were
Yeah,
getting more than one, especially if they were having um, progesterone,
the
and they
patch.
were
Yeah,
getting
yeah, yeah.
exactly. So I think that it's really important that we keep pressurising the government, because I still think there's so much more to go.
Mm,
And there was a report that came out last year. I know the government have dismissed a lot of the recommendations, but I do think it's important to keep pressurising the government, because as women,
mm,
there's got to be more flexible working for us. And what I mean by flexible working is maybe, working from home, a
mm,
little bit more. Because, some women, and I hear the stories, they're at work, then they've got
mm,
younger members of staff, they're too hot, they're trying to cool it down, the staff are putting back up, turning off the fans,
mm,
things like that. And that's why it's really important to have an understanding. And I do think, if there could be some relief for women going through menopause, that maybe more flexible working, maybe working from home, it would be really helpful.
mm. And also just providing things like maybe fresh water,
Mhm.
in the workplace, giving them maybe time off when they are not feeling very well,
That's what I'm saying, a bit of time
instead
off
of
would be
marking it as off
perfect.
sick. Yeah, instead of marking it as off sick, maybe just giving
Mhm.
menopause day, something like that, something to like an incentive, so that it's not all that obvious that we're
That's
going
right.
through these things. There must be something, and they should have like a menopause champion at work. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, to be honest, I know a lot of the large companies now have menopause champions, and they have menopause policies, but it's not just larger companies we work for. Most people work for SME companies and
Yes.
small businesses, and I do think there needs to be something that, even if it's a policy that the small businesses can implement, because they don't have the money to maybe do the bigger policies, that
Yeah.
there is some basics that is there for women when they're going through. Otherwise, what will happen in this country? We will have a brain drain. And what I mean
Mm.
by brain drain is a lot of women give up work because they feel that they can't cope
That they
anymore.
can't cope anymore.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Whereas if they're supported through this, they wouldn't be like that. They would, and we're the ones that are going to, the economy will suffer. And that's what I call menopause economics. It's so important. These women are trained, they've
Mm.
got aspects of life, they need to pass that knowledge on to the juniors. But if they're leaving the workplace abruptly, they can't do that.
Yeah. They need support.
So it
We
is
do need
support.
support.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Wow. I mean, we can listen to you all day because I know that this is your area. But what is your last thought? What can you, in conclusion, what do you want us to do? What do you want the women to do? And even the men themselves, what do you expect from them?
I always say to women, as a closing thought, it's good to talk. This is a subject, and that's the reason why the company, I named it Shush. It was about getting people talking and breaking this taboo. It's important that we can talk to our partners, we can talk to our husbands, our children. It's such an important topic. And it's communication. And as I tell a lot of men, you need to communicate. You need to find out what the symptoms are, because I get men coming to me, oh, she's got every symptom under the sun. I said, nobody's got every symptom under the sun. I said, now let's work it out. Is it the hot flushes? Is it the pain? Is it the fatigue? What is it? Is it the hair thinning? We need to communicate. And I've sent husbands to go and find out and come back. And when they come back, I can be very targeted in the actual approach. So that's why I say it is important, because some men do feel frustrated because they feel they don't know what to do. They'd like to know what to do, but they don't know what to do. So for me, communication, it's good to talk and find what works for you. And it may be baby steps, but take the baby steps, because as you take those baby steps, you're building.
Absolutely wonderful advice. It's about support. It's about finding that help when you need it. And it's also about empowering women, because when we know what to do, we're empowered. Otherwise, we'll just be wallowing in great ignorance there. My goodness, Marva, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us about this.
You are
And
welcome.
I know that this will go far. This is not the end of you coming. I'm sure. Do you promise to come back and tell us a bit
Oh, if
more
you want me to come back, yes. I'm always around to help and answer questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, because we are limited with time today. But
You're
thank
welcome.
you. Thank you so much for what you're
Thank you
doing.
for
And I wish
having
you
me.
well. I wish you well. We're gonna put this website, your website, and we have women can also buy this, where they can buy the products. We're going to put it on our website, and also we're going to put it on the YouTube and also on the social media pages, not just the YouTube, but other places on Facebook as well. So like I said, thank you so much. And this is not the last we're hearing from you, I'm sure.
Oh, you're
You,
welcome.
you
And
take
everybody
care.
have a blessed evening.
No problem. Thank you so
Amen.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.